Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando, that's Corey, and today we're doing 1974's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Before we get started, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you can follow me at Junior D's, you could follow Corey at Corey_idol, and if you want to follow the show, you could follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Kiss the Reviews. And who knows, if you follow me, maybe I put some interesting tidbits about movies and things, or not. Because again, no research, right?
No research, no tweets.
I know there's been people out there that have asked hey, this was really cool that you guys talked about this and that. That was a one-off, man. I'm sorry. I you know what? That's what happens when you put in the work. That now it's expected.
Yeah, that's why I don't do shit on this show.
I will add interesting tidbits as they come along. But
yeah, I would count your research on movies as the cast. Research.
Yes. And speaking of the cast, let's get to the cast of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This film stars Marilyn Burns as Sally, Alan Danziger as Jerry, Paul Partain as Franklin, William Vail as Kirk, Teri McMinn as Pam, Edwin Neal as Hitchhiker, and Gunnar Hansen as Leatherface.
Good old Gunnar.
Good job, Gunnar. And I know this is available all over the place. I think it's on Tubi. I think it's on Amazon. I watched it on Shudder. We've been promoting Shudder a lot just because I like the app. And if you're a horror movie fan, it's a great app to have. But yeah, I watched this on Shudder. And I told you before we started recording, it's been a minute since I've seen the original. Mm-hmm. I've gotten so caught up in some of the newer horror films that I've maybe missed out on or haven't seen. Or this one just kind of gets lost in the mix, but every time I see it, I love it.
Oh yeah, this is, I mean, if not the best, it's in your top three. I know people aren't list people, but this is just a classic. And to be made in 1974, before these movies really existed,
the
fuck out of here, man. This is crazy good.
No, it was shot well. The story's great, and what I love about it, we talk about it all the time, but we talked about it in our interview with Alec from One Bedroom. Mm-hmm. This one gets to the scary and gets out. I think runtime is an hour 23.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's quick. It gets to the story. The story's simple. They kept it simple, and then they got out. And that's it. That's what makes this movie so great.
Yeah, I would I have to say that the only problem with this movie is that fat fucking wheelchair, because that was annoying as shit.
You think you could do that to yourself?
Well, let's get into it, because Franklin opens this movie.
He opens the movie. He has the dialogue through the middle of the movie, and I'm pretty sure he's talking at the end, and he got cut up. He got cut up right good.
So this movie opens in August of 1973 with pictures being taken of grave sites and human remains that have been desecrated in Texas. The flashbulb sound through the beginning of this, because you have the voiceover at the beginning, and then it cuts right into this, and the flashbulb sound effects and just that creepy I can't even imitate the noise that it makes, but it pops in throughout this movie, is one of the creepiest and most fantastic horror movie sound effects that I've ever heard.
It sets the tone in a way that wasn't set or hadn't been set again since the Blair Witch Project. Because there is that air, especially back in 74, there is that air where, holy shit, is this a true story? You know what I mean? You have these things where they say it's a true story, and it is because of Ed Gein, but it's not.
No.
Like, that's not at even remotely close.
Yeah.
But just having that and that scroll and the narrator and having the flash bulbs throughout, it just gives it that kind of air of like, oh my God, like, did this shit really happen? And when I was a kid watching this, bro, I wouldn't have gone to Texas if you fucking paid me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was no intranets back then.
Mm-mm.
You couldn't look shit up. You were just like, apparently that's true. I'm never going to Texas.
And, well, and in fairness, now that there are internets and such shit, I'm still not going to Texas.
You were correct.
Then cuts to like Sally and her crew. Sally, Franklin, Jerry, Pam, and Kirk, and they're traveling to the graveyard because Sally thinks that her grandfather's grave might have been one of the ones that was vandalized. They get there, they see that the grave is still intact, so they get back on the road and past the slaughterhouse, where Franklin gives all the facts about how they killed the cattle, and while on the road, they pick up this fucked up hitchhiker. There's a few scenes in here that I'm like, oh, not awesome. But picking up the fucked up hitchhiker, the only sentence that can describe that scene and that scenario is, man, the 70s were fucking crazy. Like, you just picked up crazy, fucked up, like, one-eye hitchhikers, one leg, like, they got a shotgun, but you're like, he looks friendly, let's pick him up.
Yeah, this is where I think we need to draw a line with liberalism. Because I'm as cool as they come when it comes to Captain Liberal. But that being said, I'm not like, oh, that poor guy must be really hot in his heat. Let's pick him. I'm like, fucking get a job and get a car, dickhead. Not my problem.
Absolutely. You and me both. Not my problem is one of my favorite sentences.
That's how I would live my entire life in this movie. This is not my problem.
By the way, this dude gets in the van and he takes Franklin's fingernail toe knife and he cuts his hand. He takes a picture of Franklin, then flips out because they don't want to give him his $2 for the photo. So he lights it on fire. And that's the final straw that gets you kicked out of the van, lighting the photo on fire. Not the fact that you took Franklin's toe knife and just started just massacring yourself in the van, and there's blood everywhere. And listen, as soon as I see the little squirrel purse or whatever the fuck he's carrying, goodbye. Even if I were so inclined to pick up a hitchhiker, squirrel purse equals no thank you.
No, this is why you walk past people that are like at mall kiosks. Like, hey, you want to try new perfumes? You don't engage them.
Yes.
Ever. And my only thought here, and I think I'll make this our first PSA of the day.
Corey's Life Lessons.
Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. So you decided to pick up a hitchhiker and put your own lives in danger. Or just engaged in any way, shape, or form with a fucking crazy person. When they take your picture and they're like, $2, just give them the $2, guy. It doesn't matter. Give him the $2. Be like, this is the best picture ever. Now get the fuck out of my van. That's how this goes. You don't fucking haggle over the $2 because you know what happens? Sadistic cannibals start writing like notes on the side of your van in blood. Like, please eat these people.
You were right.
If you do or do not give him the $2, I agree with Corey. Just give him the $2. But don't be like, I'm not giving you the $2. This isn't even in focus. Oh, who fucking cares? You know what's happening after you give him the $2 and you kick him out? You're throwing the photo out the window.
Oh, yeah, not Franklin. No. This is very important to him.
Yes,
give up my $2. Give up $2. $2. I don't even think I could bear to do that for a picture not in focus.
I'm the water boy.
You know why the picture wasn't in focus, Franklin? Because that guy is 2 feet away from your open shirt. It's in focus. It's just your hairy, fat chest that he got a picture of. You're like, I don't look right in this picture. No, you look exactly how you look, Franklin, from that angle.
But so these guys stop for gas here and they ask for directions to the old Franklin place, which is like their old family home. And the attendant tells them that they probably shouldn't, because locals don't like strangers and they'll let you know it. And they're like, thanks for the advice, guy. And they take off for this house. Fine. You're on the road. And you know what? Here's a don't do that.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, kids. Traveling along the road, going on a little field trip. You want to go see, Papa's grave or whatever, make sure it wasn't vandalized? Sure. And then you bring your friends along? Sure. And you're like, hey, I want to go see the old family home. If it's the old family home and the old family hasn't been living there for 100 years, it's probably going to be run down. This is how you do it. You pull a drive-by, you take a camera, you go click, and then you move the fuck on. You don't do what these people do. They pull up to this old dilapidated house and they want to just start running around and playing games in the house. And I liked zebras because I had zebras on the wall or whatever the fuck, the giraffes. First of all, your brother's in a damn wheelchair. There is nothing but overgrown fields of bullshit everywhere. There's no ramp in the house. And so we're just going to leave him out. It's 400 degrees in Texas. We're going to leave him out there.
His sister insisted he come along on this trip because there was a hope he'd get bit by a rattlesnake somewhere along the line. That's all this was.
So they get to the house and they play, as Franklin struggles to get around. Pam and Kirk then go to the swimming hole and wander into like the neighbor's area because of gas and things. They got a generator running. So let's go over there. They should have gas and they just need to stop it here. You already had the attendant who is like, hey, people from around here don't like strangers, and they'll let you know. He's very kindly telling you that if you stay around, you fuck around, you're going to find out. And I'm pretty sure people I could scratch it off to like, oh, they didn't have a Google machine back then. I'm pretty sure people in the North knew that people in the South don't fuck around. Okay? And even if they're from the South, they know that.
This is just pure white people shit. This is, I'm going to look at this because it's mine.
Yeah.
That's all this is. And the most white people shit is this jerk off walking through this house going, they got gas. I don't know. I'll give him a couple bucks in my guitar. And then when we come back through, I'll pick up my guitar and give him a couple more bucks. I know you're in redneck rural Texas, but I'm pretty sure nobody's barter trading you gasoline for guitars, jerk.
You were correct.
Once again, we need to draw a line in the sand with our liberalism.
Yeah.
It can only go so far. And you, being Charles Manson-esque, being like, hey, man, peace-loving guitars for gas? That ain't fucking happening. It ain't happening.
Yes. Yes.
And again, I know it was the 70s. All right? And we didn't lock our doors back in the day because and it was much safer then. First of all, no, it wasn't. Just FYI. Second of all, this guy walks up to the door. Right? He sees a human tooth on the thing and he's like, hey, I'm going to scare my girlfriend. Yabba dabba doo, here's a tooth. And then he knocks on the door. It swings open. We've said this a million times about a million movies. If the door swings open, don't walk in. You know why? Because it ain't your house.
Especially in Texas.
Yeah, and especially after you hear animal noises and you're like, hey, is anybody home? Yeah, there's somebody home and they're murdering a hog in the back. Leave. What are we doing here? But no, he immediately walks in and he sees Leatherface and he gets smacked in the head with a fucking sledgehammer.
One of the greatest scenes of all time, any film I will put this up against, is that guy seeing Leatherface, the bash, the second hit, and then just the slam of that door. Amazing. No music, no like just that.
No, it's
and
just
then quiet again.
It's just brutality.
It's
all
so
it is.
good. It's so good.
Yeah. So he gets blasted in the head here by Leatherface. He slams the door shut. Pam is like, hey, what's going on? And she decides to go in. She's met by Leatherface after seeing the human remains decor, which is not part of the Martha Stewart collection, by the way. And
no, you get it on Temu.
Yeah, that's where you get this shit. That's a definite Temu purchase.
They use everything. They don't throw nothing away.
If you're walking into this room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't see the goddamn skull heads on the wall, right? You wander to the left, you trip and fall into a room of feathers, dirty feathers. There's a chicken. You're looking at all of the, the pop like skinned furniture and bones and shit.
Yeah.
She stays there for an awfully long time, and I get it, paralysis of the situation. I'm sorry, but I am immediately leaving that house. Okay?
Dude, Sally goes about leaving this house the right way both times she gets out of this house.
Yes.
Which is just jump out the fucking window.
Yes.
Sally's the most realistic horror movie character I've ever seen in my life, because this bitch is looking for any point of egress and she is out.
100%. So 70s or not, if are you immediately leaving that house? Yes or no? Everybody should say yes. I'm not admiring the human bone furniture collection. Like, what are we doing here?
No, I'm not even in a position at this point yet to be like, oh, I need a weapon. No, I'm running. I'm running. And if something grabs me, they fucking grab me. And it's my own goddamn fault because I walked in this stupid hellhole pit of a home anyway.
Yes.
It's on me. But as long as I got a chance, I'm going to run.
So Leatherface grabs her. He hangs her from the meat hook. And as she hangs there, Leatherface takes the chainsaw to Kirk's lifeless body and just starts hacking away at it.
Yeah, first off, that's not how you cut meat. I mean, if you're a butcher, you should know better. That's why you got to keep killing all these people, because you're just destroying good meat. It's a waste.
Hell yes.
But second, we have to talk about the job that Pam does here in getting hung on this hook, because they don't show it penetrating the skin. Yeah. They don't show any blood or anything. I mean, they show some blood behind her on the wall, but nothing splattering out of her. It is all wholly based on her reaction.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how far a Daniel Day Method Lewis actor will go in this situation, but this bitch looked like she'd been hung on hooks before, because she did a fantastic job. And I've hung a lot of live bitches on hooks. And she captures that fear and pain perfectly. Hats off to her.
I'm not even gonna dignify that with a follow-up question. We'll just move on.
Look, I will. You wanted research viewers? You got it.
Back at the house, the others wonder why Pam and Kirk haven't come back, so Jerry goes to find them. He sees Pam and Kirk's blanket on the front porch, so he goes into the house. He admires all the awesome animal skulls on the wall, and then he goes into like the kitchen area and he finds Pam locked in a freezer. She lunges out of the freezer. Then Leatherface pops in and he smashes Jerry with the sledgehammer too.
Dude, these kids are going down.
Like,
and they're volunteering for it.
Yep, they're going down toot sweet. Like,
yeah, even Leatherface is tired after this, because he just starts running through the house and like licking his lips. Like, fuck, I'm thirsty. I've been working all day. This is a lot.
He's like, all we got is coffee in here. I need a glass of water. Like, I'm parched.
Yeah, this blood is salty as shit. I really do like the fact, though, that they took the time to give you a good long pause on Leatherface himself, just kind of sitting there and licking his lips and just seeing how fucked up and everything he was. Dude, that was a great shot. Because up until now, it's just these quick flashes, and you don't even realize really what's on his face. It just looks like a dude with a fucked up face. Yeah. But this, you're starting to see like the patches of skin, and it's so good.
Yeah.
So iconic.
Nightfall comes. And Sally and Franklin are still at the van. Lights are on. Franklin says they should go to the gas station for help. Sally's like, "Nuh-uh, I'm not leaving without Jerry." And she goes to look for the other three and takes Franklin with her. Okay, first of all, Franklin is correct here. There's a gas station literally within walking distance. Mm-hmm. We know this because Sally runs there in the next few scenes. It's right there. Just go there. I know what happens at the gas station, but that's the best option at this point. But Sally's like, "No, I have a better option. I'm going to push your heavy ass because I'm 105 pounds. I'm going to push you through the woods in a wheelchair. That's your option."
Well, in fairness to Sally, she didn't want to do that. Franklin, though, acts like a bitch and can't give up a fucking flashlight. And then it's like, "Well, I'm just going to go with you, Sally. And she even says, "I can't push you down that hill." Now, you know how fucking big somebody is in a wheelchair and not helping you in any way, shape, or form when you can't push somebody down a hill? I understand up the motherfucker, but down it? Come on, Franklin. You're not even trying to help people here. No. And then, if you're so scared, let's just do this.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, bitches. Uncle Corey here. If you're going to be like Franklin and insist on coming along and you're scared and blah, 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 quit your fucking talking. You are advertising. I know they're shouting for everybody's names and everything, but you just talking and wheezing when you breathe is allowing every predator in the world to know where you are.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
Dude, I felt so bad for Sally here. And this is the part where you hear what sounds like the generator, but it's not really the generator. And all of a sudden, when Leatherface pops up, they go, "Ah!" And he just starts digging into Franklin like it's a fucking Thanksgiving ham. Yep. Bro, I started doing the wave in my house. I was so fucking happy. And it just simply meant that he never had to talk again. And this is why Sally, I think, was so insistent on dragging Franklin. Like, instead of going to the gas station, she's like, "I would rather traipse around rural Texas by myself in the dark than spend one more fucking minute alone with Franklin."
Yeah.
That's how bad Franklin. I don't want to sit at a gas station with you, Franklin, and watch you eat barbecue. Calm down.
No, that's why you take him to the gas station, you leave him there, and then you go do whatever it is you got to do.
For real. God,
because she would have been better off doing that, but they get chased by Leatherface. Well, she gets chased. Franklin just gets murked immediately because there's literally nowhere to run for Franklin. So his wheels are just stuck, man, on some twigs. He can't go nowhere. So he gets murked. Sally gets chased through the woods by Leatherface. So she gets away and runs towards a house, which is the house that everybody's dead in. And she runs upstairs, discovers the old, corpses, and Leatherface gets into the house. Sally runs and jumps out the window and gets up and runs back to the woods. We have said this for I don't even know how many horror movies. I'm jumping out a window. I'm doing whatever it takes. Sally, one of the smartest, you talk about Final Girls and all that stuff. She is one of the smartest horror movie characters in history. There is no, "I'm trapped in a room." Motherfucker, there's 3 windows in this room. You ain't trapped. You're just not willing to go that far. And Sally is.
Exactly. And the only mistake Sally makes, pretty much from what I can ascertain through this whole movie, is when she sees Grandpa and the corpse of Grandma, she runs downstairs while Leatherface is still at the front door, sawing up his front door. Which, let's just do this. Hi, kids. Uncle Corey. Fake rocks with the spare key. Work every time. You don't need to do this to your fucking front door. That's insane. But I digress. Sally makes the mistake of trying to run back downstairs as Leatherface is coming back in. Dude, this is where I get it. You're scared. It's Grandpa, but also they ain't moving, dude. Which means they ain't hunting you. Which means you got a couple seconds to try and get some idea of what the fuck to do here.
Yeah.
Instead of just screaming and freaking the fuck out and just running.
Yeah.
Nonstop. But she unfucks herself real quick by jumping out the window. And like what I really appreciate is she doesn't even wait a second until her legs are fully functioning. She's dragging herself up. And ends up, this is what Franklin should have been like. Franklin should have grew some fucking legs real fast. Because she's like, I'm dragging, I'm dazed. I just fell 2 stories. Uh-oh, that chainsaw's getting close again. Whoops, my legs work. Bye. And she starts booking it again. Perfect.
Hey, adrenaline's a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
So
Franklin could have had some if he'd have laid off some of that goddamn barbecue.
Hey, it's Franklin. Coming over to play.
Do you remember that cartoon? No?
Well, no, I don't because Leatherface cut me the fuck up.
Sally runs through. She runs into some issues in the woods, but she gets away from Leatherface. She gets to the gas station. Leatherface kind of disappears. She goes inside the station. She sees the station owner, and he tries to calm her down. He goes to get his truck, and when he comes back with a burlap sack and some rope. He beats her with the broom, ties her up, and throws her in his truck, and drives her back to the murder house as he pokes her with the broom handle the whole way. This is one of my favorite scenes.
Yep. He's one of my favorite characters. This is one of my favorite scenes. He is, what's so brilliant about this is, okay, calm down. Jab, with this sadistic smile on his face.
Yes.
It's so brilliant. Just for nothing else to show that he's a sadistic fuck.
Yeah.
Like all of these guys are.
And when you get to the house and they're having the dinner and blah, 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 and he's like, he doesn't have the stomach for murder, but he'll fuck with you.
Oh, yeah. He likes the torture part, the mental torture.
Yeah. He likes cock and ball torture. He doesn't like the whole murder thing.
No.
It's not for him.
No, he's probably related to one of my ex-wives.
He gets to the house here, right? Along the way, he picks up the hitchhiker from earlier. They all live there together as one big, happy, fucked up family, along with Leatherface. And they tie Sally to a chair inside the house, remove the bag from her head, and then they go get Grandpa upstairs. And they cut Sally's finger so he can suck on her blood. And she passes out. And then when she wakes up, she's at the dinner table, for a nice, fucked up hillbilly dinner of people meets.
And I won't say this is a PSA, but if you want to have a little fun the next time you're in the sack with your partner, just start sucking on their finger like that and see what they do.
That's so gross.
It's so nasty.
It's so gross. I need to take a Tums. It's one of the grossest scenes in the fucking movie.
So good, too. And I love, too, that she passes. Like, this is the thing that makes her pass out, and rightfully so.
Oh, 100%.
And this is also, I think, where I really appreciated every single time I've watched this movie. I appreciate that there is no sexuality to this.
Yeah.
They're not trying to make babies like the hills have eyes. They're not trying to. They want to eat this bitch. They're hungry.
Yeah.
Period.
They're hungry and they need a new end table. Like that's.
Yep. And if you know anything about fucking Texas, they ain't good with the welfare.
No.
They ain't hooking you up with food stamps. So these guys got to do whatever they can to survive.
You were right.
I appreciated that too, because every movie and every remake of one of these movies always adds one of those scenes, and it's like, dude, give me the scary and let me go on with my day. Like, give me the horror and then let me go on with my day. And you start adding stuff that's more like modern, I guess, even though that's not a modern thing. But it is modern when you're talking about putting it on film. Yeah. Like, I did appreciate that. of this. Like nothing was, dude,
No.
you know me, with every movie we've reviewed, I'm like, why does he have to have a girlfriend? Why do they gotta make out at why do they gotta, just give me the plot and then let me go on with my day. None of this needs to be sexualized. So
no,
I was super happy. Like, again, along with everything else in this movie, I loved that about this as well.
Yep.
And as they continue here to torture her at the table, they untie her so that Grandpa can kill her with the hammer. Because apparently Grandpa used to work at the slaughterhouse and was the best killer there. And Grandpa has one foot in the grave, one on a banana peel, and they're just trying to put the hammer in his hand. They're trying to swing the hammer for him. He's not even making contact with her. He's dropping the hammer because he's 432 years old. And right here is when Sally gets away again, jumps through another fucking window, and again runs away down the road, like through the woods, down the road.
Yep.
Leatherface and the family chase her here. The hitchhiker son continues like cutting her back with his knife as she's running along. That was crazy. I totally forgot about that scene.
Yeah, his little razor blade is nasty.
Yeah.
And dude, I like that they all get to showcase a little bit of what they are. You know what I mean? Like Grandpa gets to, or not Grandpa, but the older brother gets to talk about how, you know, he just doesn't have the taste for killing. Takes no pleasure in the killing.
Yeah.
And Leatherface obviously seems like the killer. And the other guy, the crazy hitchhiker guy, seems like that's what he does. Like he walks around setting people up, trying to find people, blah, 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 blah. So to get to see him now come out and be as brutal and just hacking her up with glee as she's running away, he can catch her at any moment he wants to. Any moment. But he's just fucking with her.
He's having fun.
And again, that to me is scary.
Yes.
Her like getting her boobies touched and we're going to rape you and then we're going to eat like that. It's a different kind of triggering scariness, but it's not like this. Yeah. This is scary. Like, I'm just fucking with you. This is Rob Zombie House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yes.
I'm just fucking with you, bud. There is nothing you can do.
No, we're just having fun here. Yeah.
Yep.
But she makes it out to the road here as a Mack truck comes. It blasts hitchhiker guy.
Awesome.
And runs him over. The truck driver stops. He gets out. He saves Sally, basically. They both get in the cab. And as they're getting out, Leatherface comes around. The driver hits Leatherface in the head with a wrench. And Sally hops in another pickup truck that's passing by as we get the iconic scene of Leatherface swinging the chainsaw on the road at the end. And the movie ends here.
And this poor truck driver is still running.
I was
Forrest Gump style.
I don't
down
think
Route 66 for 30 years.
I don't think I ever really gave the truck driver a second thought until this viewing. But as I'm watching it, and you know, I'm looking at the how it's shot and those things, and I'm kind of dissecting the scene, and you see the truck driver just running. She jumps in the truck, and I'm like, I don't remember the truck driver jumping in the truck with her. And I'm like, oh, he doesn't. He just keeps running. By the way, how part 2 should have started was with that truck driver in the freezer in their kitchen.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. Like, oh, that guy's running forever. And then I'm like, oh no, he's running back towards the fucking gas station.
Yeah.
And so if he goes to that gas station and waits for somebody because they're about to open, which the older brother said, yo, this guy, he's in for it bad.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
I mean, at the end of the day, dude, I love this movie. It's so, it's just so creepy. The way it's shot. The one thing Rob Zombie did do, okay, with some of the movies that, you know, with the House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects and that kind of thing, it kind of did what this movie started off doing.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting and how like just gross they made everything feel. Like this to me, I was grossed out by how the house looked. And I'm like, oh, you need to get out of there. That house is disgusting. And I'm a germaphobe. I can't have that. But like Rob Zombie then took that and went, yeah, that's gross. Hold my beer. And then, you know, did what he did. Because the shots in his movies, it's like there's slime almost on everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like how you said how this started with the decomposing corpse.
Yes.
Put on the memorial and, you know, posed, and you could smell that body. That thing was 100%. Fucking disgusting. And part of me is like, yo, it's fucked up they got a decomposed body to make this movie. Like, it looked that real. It was fucking disgusting.
Yeah. Just the practical effects here.
Yes.
Again, to praise practical effects. They're amazing throughout this film.
Yep. And I know this is a classic, so it's easy for me to say, like, this kind of plot device or this kind of story never gets old. But in the horror genre, if you do it correctly, it doesn't get old.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't. And the most important thing here is, and why it doesn't get old, is you have this iconic horror movie villain. This one guy, not a thing, not an invisible thing we can't see. This one guy versus whatever.
Yeah.
And like Mike Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, those are the big four. Even fucking Ghostface you can put into that. You know what I mean? Art the Clown Terrifier. All of these iconic characters come from these movies that you can rewatch over and over and over again. Not because of the final girl, not because of the hero, but because of these villains. So if you are going to make a horror movie and you do want to go this route, get yourself an icon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if it's for you and it doesn't become that, but a centralized horror movie villain a la Hannibal Lecter is more important than Clarice Starling will ever be to your movie.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And to be honest, I mean, you're absolutely right. And what I really liked was there's no, well, Leatherface got his butthole touched when he was a child, and there's no backstory. There's literally no reason for this to be happening other than it's backwoods Texas. Like, that's it.
Right.
It's the reason that the House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects and some of those movies that Rob Zombie directed, like, that's why those are so good to me, because they're just fucked in the head. Like, that's it. Yeah. I love, I mean, you know me. I'm like, oh, there's a backstory. Immediately I'm out. Like, I love horror movies that give no backstory, and it's like they just do it because either they're like inbred and just messed up in the head, or there is no reason. It's just happening.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And I think that's why they're so timeless.
Yes. So hats off to Gunnar Hansen. Hats off to the guy that played Franklin. I'm giving him tons of shit. But again, we've said this before. If you get that emotional reaction out of me as a character in a movie,
you did a great
You
job.
did your job, bro. I don't know if you were intentionally supposed to be annoying, if I'm just a psycho and I felt a different way about you than I was intended, but you got me in my feelings only about your character. So good job.
No, absolutely. I think everybody does a great job with this, but that's all I got, man. You got anything else?
No, this is a classic, man. This is one of the best movies ever made.
All right. Well, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1974's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.